and it is Mike Devies of Waterloo hopping on Running Point. Coach, thank you so much for taking the time to join us.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys having me.
Coach, we want to talk about your program now too, and we wanted to highlight some of these programs that are really, we were saying, in the foundations trying to build something really great. And I think the Waterloo program, we were seeing a lot too, starting with the community helping out, building up those amazing bleachers before the season even started, and then going into the season now, and a 3-5 record. I think there's a lot of things to build on. Talk to me about the growth you've seen from this team and the kind of community support that's been surrounding it.
Well, it's unbelievable. We've been without a stadium here the last couple of years, and our community's really stepped up. And we now have bleachers. We have a press box and concession stand in progress that has been paid for zero school dollars. It's been funded totally through community money, donations. And the kids see it, and they've bought in. They've really progressed. From the beginning. We're young. We only have 3 seniors on the team. They bought into the system. We switched to the single wing a couple of years ago, about halfway through last year, and it's really it's kind of become our brand of football. We've become more physical, and we're learning every day. It's our motto since I've been here has been win the day. We try to get better every day, and the kids have bought into that, and they've been really working hard.
You guys are going to have to deal with some adversity, and we've talked about it before you came on, and we've had discussions with you about it before the show. How do you guys continue to win the day in this kind of adversity? What kind of things are you preaching to your kids the next 2 weeks as you guys are kind of sidelined a little bit?
Well, it's funny, in the big scheme of things, football plays a very minor role in their life. We've been very unfortunate, I guess, in the last few weeks that we've had some deaths in the community and to some family members of our teammates. And we try to put those things in perspective. And we cherish every day that we have together. And, I tell those kids I love them every day, and I appreciate them. And it's really a family atmosphere. We try to get as many people involved in the team as we can. Our moms play a big role in feeding the team and supporting us, before, during, and after games. It's really a neat atmosphere. There's good people here, in Waterloo, and we're very appreciative of that.
Coach, there's no doubt that I've grown fond of the Waterloo community as well. And I mean, my visits there, going there just yesterday too, I really love the community that surrounds this school, because I do really think you guys, you bond together. And I think that's very special for a community that's kind of out in the middle of nowhere for the rest of the school division.
But there's not much to do at Waterloo other than sports.
But looking at just like the athletes of this team, and just looking at the community that supported you through this football season, and it's going to continue to support you through multiple sports seasons. Talk to me about that kind of bond between school and community that has been built with Waterloo, and how important that is for both not only the school but also the community as well.
It is. It's really neat, and we've got a new superintendent this year, Ms. Torella. She's bought into the community thing, and we've opened our doors up to the youth programs again, so they're feeling part of the I guess the traditions that go on here at Waterloo. And like I said, athletically, I have open practices. I try to, I have parents stop in all the time, and we treat kids like family, and I think that's important, especially in this day and age. The kids dealing with COVID, and they went through such a hard process the last year and a half in isolation. And, our basketball team, we were in the regional finals, and basically they got that taken away from them. And, you got to love kids, and you got to treat them right, and, keep them close, because, they're going through things that kids shouldn't have to go through. And, as adults, we're having a hard time processing this pandemic, and I can't imagine being a 16, 17-year-old kid having to deal with it. And our community's really embraced our kids. I mean, it's really special.
Coach, you wear a couple of hats, and you're not the only football coach that does this, but What's it like juggling the hat of a head football coach and athletic director here in this really busy fall season with volleyball going on, cross country going on, golf going on, and of course football? What's it kind of like juggling all that?
Well, it's kind of add dean of students in on that too, and
Right.
and if they can find something else for me to do, I'll probably do it too. It's interesting. My God bless my wife. She's kind of become a single mom here for the last few months. I get home at 9 o'clock and I eat dinner, and we stay up and talk a little bit, and then it's go to bed, and you get over and you start and you do it all over again. But you know what? I love being here. I love being around the people. And I got a great wife who, and my one son's living in California, and my daughter's getting her doctorate at Florida State. So, our kids are grown and gone, and, she's done a phenomenal job raising them. Unfortunately, I haven't always been there, and that's my offensive coordinator, Nate Peters. He's got some little ones, and I tell him, dude, he's coaching their flag football teams. I'm like, if you got to leave practice, you're going to go, and you're going to go spend time with those kids. The people around me are great. And, Robin Ferguson, my assistant, she basically runs a show on Friday nights when we have things here. And Lee Horning is a community member who he may spend more time at this place than I do. If you're around, you see that the press box is dedicated in his name. So, there's, like I said, there's good people here that make my job easy. So that, I may be the face of athletics, but no way, shape, or form am I the guy running the show. I got good people that do most of the heavy lifting.
Coach, I think there's no doubt that with all your experiences and kind of looking at overall athletics and kind of all your jobs within the school provide you with a lot of intellect too. So when coaching football, we know it's about the X's and O's that ultimately help a lot in determining the victory. But when you are coaching these kids, what is the biggest thing that's not football related that you are trying to teach these kids on the football team?
Well, everything around our process, I guess, is in that when the Day Foundation is really not so much, we talk about becoming a better football player and getting stronger and bigger and faster. But it's about being a good father, a good community member. It's giving back to the community. It's selfless service. I was a volunteer fireman for 30 plus years. My dad was a fire chief. My uncles are police chiefs in a small town community like Waterloo. So being selfless servant is very important to me. It's how I was raised. And I try to project that to my kids.
Coach, what are some things that you think your team has really done well this season? I mean, we've seen them compete really well against some really good teams. What are some strengths of this football team that you've seen this year?
We've really grown. One, we've become more physical, but what I think we've done a really good job here the last few games is protecting the football. Jackson Milton last week, we had a 17 play drive and a 15 play drive that they covered 9 minutes. And our kids, they understand our concepts, and, I got receivers that, of course, they want the ball. But it's not my mindset. We like to run the football, and they understand that. And, we're hard and fast that if you block, you're going to get a chance. But if you don't do your part in the run game, then, you may not see the ball for 2 or 3 games. So my kids have really bought into that, and they understand what it takes to win football games. I guess I'm cut a little bit out of the Jim Tressel mold. We're going to pound the football, and we're going to control it. And if it's in our hands, it's not in the opponent's hands, and it's hard for them to score.
Looking at that then and trying to build this program, and I think you've already taken a step from 2020 to 2021 in building this program. What is kind of the next steps, and what kind of needs to happen with the team, either on the field, off the field, what have you, to kind of take that next step in its development?
Hands down, it's got to be our off-season program. I've preached and I preach about kids getting into the weight room and doing the things in the off-season. And a problem we have in a small school like this is kids are involved in so many activities. And, and I encourage kids to play other sports. I think they need to get out and compete. But we've got to find a way to get in the weight room and get stronger. You play programs like New Middletown, Springfield, and Sean does a phenomenal job with their off-season program. But, those kids step on the field and you look at their kids and you look at our kids and there's a difference. And I think our kids understand that and they're starting to buy in. We've got a really good freshman class who have fallen in love with the weight room. So I'm excited to see what, the next few years bring.
To Ty's point and to further up on building a program, another important thing is, building the youth and building the junior high and building the kids before they get to you in high school. Talk about the program that's there and what they do so well to get these kids ready for you guys when they get into freshman season.
Absolutely. There's been some new leadership in our youth program, and they've been very inviting to us. It hasn't always been the case here. We've done a lot of things. We held a youth camp for them this off season, and my kids had a lot of fun with those little guys. We made a point to try to go down and visit them in the elementary. It's a nice thing about having a K-12 campus. We try to get down and visit it and promote the program. My kids will go and they'll run chains on Sundays for the youth programs. So, we're trying to tie it K through 12. We're one big football family, and we want to involve them as much as humanly possible.
Looking at all the responsibilities that you have in Waterloo High School, but just centering on football coach and just looking at the help that must be there to help you out too, getting ready for Football Fridays, as I'm sure you're tied in with a lot of other responsibilities as well. Kind of highlight the kind of crew that's around you on Football Fridays, your assistants that kind of help you lead the way to victory on Friday nights.
Oh, I tell you what, it's unbelievable. And, it really starts during the week with Nathan Peters. He was a head coach previously, and Jeff Sharkey, who actually gave me my first varsity job back in '95. He's my defensive coordinator. They do a lot of the film work and the leg work and the prep stuff during the week. So I can just go and motivate kids, maybe yell at kids a little bit and have a little bit of fun with them. But then on game day, we're kind of a well-oiled machine. Robin takes charge of getting all the workers, and Lee's he's gonna welcome in the officials and show them to the locker room. He runs the clock. He basically does everything. He gets the buses. He greets the visiting team. He takes a lot of pride in being a first-class program and being welcoming to visiting schools, and it's pretty neat. Like I said, I basically have to carry the football stuff up to the field, get the water ready. I get the water ready for the officials, the pay sheets ready for the officials, and those guys kind of take the ball and run with everything else.
I like that you brought up that a lot of coaches in your program are really focused on being a high-class program for your football team and for your athletics. And I want to bring this up because I remember last year in basketball, your basketball coaches, I think every coach in your athletic program is really dedicated to making sure that the message of being a high-class program is sent. And I remember your girls basketball coach wrote letters to opposing players that were really good and were going on to have, careers at the next level, and making sure that, they were kind of treated well at Waterloo. Is that a sentiment that the entire athletics program has, that they really want to make sure Waterloo is known as a high-class program?
Absolutely. And it doesn't matter what sport. And you're talking about Coach Longenecker. That guy he's a class act. We're very fortunate to have him here. And Coach Wise and the other on the boys' side, he makes sure that our kids act the way they need to act, and our kids, they're good people because of our coaches. And their parents. I'm telling you, Ty, you've been around here quite a bit. It's a pretty special place, and there's some old school traditions, and kids are raised old school a little bit here, and I love it. It's the way I was raised, and I was from a small town, and it's home. It's home. It's really a neat atmosphere.
As coach, we absolutely we love having you on too. And my final question for you, and I've been up to that school too, and it's kind of taken my heart too, as well as being one of my sweetheart schools.
I love having you
all the time too. But just talk to me a little bit now about looking towards the future and just kind of we talk about that battling through adversity, and we talk about you guys having to battle this adversity, how you guys are reacting to it now. Just looking towards the future and looking at the biggest surprises that you've seen from this season, from week 1 until now. What are some of the big athletes that you think going into next season and seasons in future? You talk about all the young athletes, and I've seen all the young athletes that are down there at Waterloo. Shout out some of these young athletes that you think are going to have some big names here in the next couple of years.
Well, I coach offensive line, and my dudes up front, I got all of them back next year, which is really exciting. And it starts with number 68, Austin Wise. This he's a next level kid. He's big, he's strong, he's fast, he's athletic. And, then I got Spencer Shepard. I got Braden Robinson, who's a freshman. And then I got Logan Baird beside him on the line. He's a freshman. Dakota Finney at tight end is he's a sophomore. Then Nathan Roberts, Owen Plymail is only a junior. He's probably our fastest lineman. And he's a weight room guy. So, things are looking good. It's just, we've got to get a good off season together. And I try to stress to these kids, I don't think they realize how good they could be, and being a line guy, when you got everybody coming back, from right now a 3-5 team. And, we wholeheartedly believe that if we were able to play our full 10-game schedule before the playoffs, we had a chance to get in. So I'm excited what the future brings. We've got some of those young freshmen I talked about. Right now they're, roughly 120 pounds, but they'll hit you. So, we put a little bit of muscle mass on them, and they can run a little bit and hit. So, it's going to be exciting here in the next few years.
Coach, thank you so much for taking the time to join us on a Friday. We appreciate your time. We wish you the best of luck in everything that you continue to do. And we look forward to talking to you again real soon.
I appreciate what you guys are doing for high school athletics. It's pretty awesome.